welcome back to the Country Scroller.
Since the last video, we actually have a new, I guess it'd be a shop furniture piece in the workshop here, and it's a nice cabinet for the tools, and it has a nice top to it, so I'll go ahead and show you that, as well as a little update of the tour of the workshop in case you haven't seen it in a while. So here's that clip. In today's video, we're going to be making this personalized frame for a dry erase board. Also, you could use a chalkboard, and in this case we used inlay technique to make it cool, and many things you could do for it and personalize it however you want. So I'll show you the process in which I used to make this frame here. Alright, for this project, what I have here is just a dry erase board that I bought from Walmart, and depending on, I'm not going to give any measurements because obviously it came in all different size, shapes, and brands. So this is what it looks like, and it's just out of the package. So I'm going to remove this plastic frame, and then I'll show you what it looks like from there. Alright, now it's out of the plastic frame, and you'll see it has two layers of 1/4 inch cardboard, so together it's a 1/2 inch thick. And I'm not going to use this cardboard as the backer of it. I'm going to adhere it to a piece of plywood that's 1/4 inch, the piece here, so it comes off fairly easy. You can just peel it off, and it's just a thin metal with the dry erase surface on it. So instead of actually gluing this onto another piece, I will just have it up against it, because when it's in the frame I will be able to sandwich it together and it won't come loose. So it's pretty easy, no glue up as far as the metal involved. So we got that piece, and then our wood, and we have a maple walnut contrast for the inlay, and those are both 1/8 inch, and then I'll glue it to a thinner board which is 1/4 inch, and that will have the notch in it like that for the back side, because that will have the inlay, and then it will be about a 1/4 inch ledge for it. So by the way, this is going to be a 1 inch wide border. Again, measurements, don't really go off of those because this could be different size for anybody else. Now I just have these ready for when I create the frame to cut them to size and stuff. So I can go ahead and get the pattern prepared for the inlay now, and then I'll show you just cutting that out, and then we'll work on the frame itself. And then the project's pretty easy, so we'll do the inlay, and then make the board for the backer just out of plywood, and we'll go from there. So I'll just do all that, pretty self-explanatory, so let's get started. Alright, the next step is to glue the letters in, obviously, and then while they're being glued in, after I glue them in, I'm going to also glue this so it can be drying at the same time. So I'll get all those glued up, and then I'll show you what it looks like in the clamps. Alright, so here's where we're at. We have the inlay glued up, as well as the part of it that will hold the dry erase board inside there. So that's going good. And then we have these that we will go ahead and cut the same groove in the back side of them to accept the dry erase board. I'll do that off camera. And I also have the plywood the same size as this sheet of dry erase board. So after this is dry, we'll have these cut, and then we'll go back and have them all cut to size, and I'll show you how we'll do the construction of the frame. Alright, so here we are back at the inlay, and it's all dry, and I sanded it and filled all the holes in. So the inlay is done, and then I also copied that same slot on all the pieces, and that is a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch groove. But I was simulating putting this together, and I actually ran into a problem, and I'll show you. I'm going to be using a half flap joint on here, and when you make the half flap, from cutting the groove in this piece, the groove continues, and I can't go back and fix that on all these because they're all cut. So what I'm going to do is just cut a little sliver of wood and put it in there like that. So the side, you'll see it, this is just loosely put together, but it'll once it's all glued and sanded, it'll look fine. But that's the half flap joint. But this is all cut on scroll saw, so it's pretty simple to do. But that little mistake there sort of is a little inconvenient for it. But so I'm going to go ahead and cut all the half flaps for this. And the way it's going to go is I have the top and bottom are going to be the all the way across, and then this will go underneath it. So cutting this out causes that piece to break away there. So I'll cut all the half flaps, and they're just 1 inch by 1 inch, and then I'll be back to glue it together. Alright, so I have all the half flaps cut all around the frame, and I cut all the little slivers to go in there. So I'm going to glue this whole assembly together, and then I will sand it all good, and then I'll show you it from there. So this is what it looks like while it's drying. And when I was putting it together, I drove a little finishing nail in every corner just to hold it in place while I got the clamps on there. So I'll let this dry, and then we'll do the sanding, and then we'll be right back with you. Alright, we're nearly done with it now, and everything is sanded and looks good. And as you can tell, you can see the half flap, but you can not see where I had to put in the thing. On the back side you can a little bit, but it's for the most part pretty darn hidden. So next we can do a clear coat. So the construction of this will just be the dry erase board and then the plywood, and then it is like that. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and give this a finish. So let's go ahead and do that. For the finish, I'm going to use a Rust-Oleum clear lacquer, see how it really darkened up that walnut. I will give that some time to dry and then put a few more coats on it, and then it will be. So here's the finished product of this. And for the hanging up, I thought I had some sawtooth hangers, but I don't, so I just use this little eye hook thing, and just screws into the top there. And I think I turned out pretty good. The half lap joints I used to construct it turned out good, as well as hiding them with that little sliver that I messed up with. And you can't even really tell around it any mistakes, so I think it turned out pretty good. And for the back, I just used some nails in the corners to hold the plywood in place. So that is the finished product. So thanks for watching this video of how I made this frame. A few other ways you could do it is you could also do a chalkboard, and as well I was going to make a chalkboard with a frame, because there's a chalk paint that you can buy at like Walmart or whatever, but it's not really that good. I tried to do it and you write chalk on it and then it doesn't really erase well, so I just used a store-bought dry erase board and then made it frame for it. So that was this video.
If you have a request for a video, you can leave it in the comment section below in this video, and we'd be glad to try to make the video and just make some different things for you guys to watch.
So I'm Dustin.
And I'm Dylan.
Thanks for watching this video on the Country Scroller, and we'll see you next time.